Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We'll be diving right into a newspaper review. And first we have Daily Trust. Right in front we have Electoral Bill delay fuels uncertainty ahead of 2027. That is on pages 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust. At the top left we have FCTA strike. Patients stranded as health facilities shut down. That's on page 23 of the Daily Trust. Tuji Group captures bandits leader who negotiated peace deal. That's on page 6 if you want more. Governor Yusuf will be defeated in APC, says Kwankwaso. That is on page 5 of the Daily Trust. At the bottom, Boko Haram kills army commander and 7 soldiers in Borno. That's on page 30. We won't recognize elections conducted by Amupitan, says Sharia Council. That's on page 21. New tax regime fundamentally flawed, says Ndume. That's on page 23. We have Atiku toying with democratic sabotage. That says presidency. That's on page 10 of the Daily Trust. Make sure you grab yourself a copy and stay informed. Next up, we have This Day newspaper. Right in front, we have Zach Adediji. We have no provision to tax informal economy. It says new tax law not designed to heap burden on poor Nigerians. Explains credit scheme. Continue to curb abuses. Says no. Not within NRS remit, says information a key challenge in tax implementation, assures transparency, rule of law are non-negotiable. That's on page 8 of This Day. At the top, we have Senate may vote real-time electronic results transmission, debates committee report today. Vote trading offenders to risk 5 million naira fine. That's on page 8 as well of This Day. We have Kwankwaso Kano Governor Abak Yusuf will face consequences of defection to APC. That's on page 36 at the top. 2025 licensing. NUPRC restricts bidders to 2 oil blocks, prioritizes technical financial capacity. Says signature bonus of $3 million to $7 million must be paid within 60 days of offer. That is on page 8 as well of This Day newspaper. Now joining us to review some of the headlines of the pages of today's national dailies is Editor-in-Chief Dateline newspaper, Nasiru Lawal. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
All right, let's start with the Daily Trust. Right in front, we have Electoral Bill delay fuels uncertainty ahead of 2027. Now, can you give us your thoughts on this? There's a lot of back and forth when it comes to it. A lot are saying this bill is supposed to be quickly looked at, as well as, aside from that, having, the timetable for elections as well. So can you shed more light for us?
Well, I think it's good that the civil societies are like the ones at the forefront of putting pressure on the National Assembly to make sure that we have, the amendment before the 2027 elections. That's the activities will have started. Because I remember in 2014, the then candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, was very sad. He protested that the National Assembly failed to amend the 2010 Electoral Act at that time. He said his argument that time was that there was 2006 amendment which guided the 2007 election, and then the 2010 guided the 2011 elections, but then when it came to 2015 there was no amendment in 2014. So honestly, as far as I'm concerned, it's not about the law, it's about the politicians respecting what we have on the ground, because it's good to have the law, it's one thing to have it, and then it's another for them to respect it. See what happened in the case of the electoral, the card reader, for instance. When it happened, so many Nigerians were celebrating it as the best thing that happened to Nigeria since sliced bread. But, what happened in the end? It was mismanaged. So even this one, I think that's why I'm happy that the civil society, are the ones that are pushing it, because as far as politicians are concerned, they will rather do what will benefit them, not what will benefit the people. And right now, if we're able to come up with, a process where Nigerians will feel, confidence that whatever they decide is going to come out at the end of the day. Unless we are able to do that, then honestly we'll deprive the people of the confidence. And right now we are complaining that the numbers keep going down when it comes to participating in election. In the 2023 election, I think the presidential election, only 26 or so percent of Nigerians, voters participated in that election. So I don't want us to end up with a similar scenario.
All right, now this brings us to this particular declaration by the Sharia Council, and they said we won't recognize elections conducted by Amopitan. I'd like to hear your take on this.
Well, I think they went too far as far as I'm concerned, because yes, they have said it, long before now, that looking at his past, he shouldn't be allowed to superintend the electoral process, because so many Nigerians will not have the confidence that he will be fair, looking at the argument he made in the past. But if we are to, hold people to their past, how many Nigerians will be able to even survive? It's possible he did that, and now probably he has known better, he has maybe come across better arguments, things that he didn't know before. So probably the argument that he helped the the genocide debate, this time around, I think they should just table their demand to the president to say that we don't want this man for so reasons, but to say that he will not recognize the election that will be conducted by him, I don't think that is like determinant for anything. If the president should emerge today, it doesn't matter whether you recognize the result or not, because it's not one of the things that the law, requires for an election to be valid. So, and even the argument that they are also making, they are saying Muslim Ummah. I don't think it's right to say that, because even the president is a Muslim. So I don't think in this case, I don't think in this case they are also speaking for him. But as for their argument, about not wanting Amopitan to remain there, they have a valid argument. But like I said, if we are to hold everybody to his past, how many of us are going to actually, weather the storm?
All right, let us move to Kano politics. We've seen that Governor Yusuf has defected to the APC, and now Kwankwaso, in an interview with the BBC, has said that he will be defeated for moving to the APC, and that his defection still feels unreal to him. And aside from that, Kano voters voted for Kwankwaso, not Abba, NNPP. Now, what is your take on this, and how do you think this would pan out?
Well, it was not Kwankwaso that was on the ballot in 2023, so it's actually not correct to say that, the people voted for Kwankwaso. Maybe they can say the people voted for Abba because of Kwankwaso. That's a different thing altogether. But, it's coming clearer by the day that, those that think it's only a plan between Abba and Kwankwaso, so that they will take charge of activities in the ruling party and then keep their own, party, so that whatever happens in the end, Kwankwaso will remain relevant in Kano politics. But it's becoming clearer that something is actually wrong between the two of them. And for him to say that he's going to be defeated in 2027, well, that's left to be seen, because the people of Kano are the ones that are going to decide this thing. It's not about Kwankwaso, because if it is to be for Kwankwaso, probably even the defection wouldn't have materialized. And there is also the argument that Kwankwaso was the one who started discussing with the APC. And when he was doing that discussion, probably he didn't even carry Abba along. So now that Abba has, seen the way, and he thinks this is where his political interest will be better protected, he has moved, he has returned to the ruling party. So I think Kwankwaso should just, try and maintain the support that he has, so that maybe come 2027 he will show Abba that truly he made a mistake. But to say those that are arguing betrayal and what have you, honestly, I don't think that's a valid thing to do. Because number one, is it loyalty to the people or loyalty to the person that sponsored you. And then when Kwankwaso decided to bring Abba, was it because Abba was the best, of all the candidates, or is it because he thought Abba will be the one that he can easily control and what have you? So now that Abba has made his own decision, and like I said, it is Abba's name that's on the ballot. So whatever happens, Nigerians will remember, whether for good or for bad, that whether he failed or succeeded as a governor.
All right, let us go to Katsina now. We've seen that Turji Group captured a bandits leader who negotiated a peace deal, and you would wonder what is still going on in Katsina. That was in Jibia, where this happened. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it and how you think this clash between bandits and how it would affect the people of the community.
I've been arguing that the only reason why the people are pushing for all this dialogue, it's because the state has failed to protect them. If the state can protect them, nobody will want to, sit down in the same under the same shade with a criminal. I don't think that will happen. And then see what is happening now. Even those that have bought the idea of negotiating with the government, see what the criminals are doing. They are going after them, which means still the state cannot protect the people. If for any reason, our military or our security agents can stop this from happening, Turji, we are still talking about Turji on the run, for how long? Because look at what happened when the US strike took place. They said, he was hale and hearty. We knew where he was hiding and all that. How comes you are still not, getting him? So that's the problem that I'm having with all this. I know the security agents are really trying, but in this case, it's only the results that we see. Sadly, Nigerians hardly reward effort unless if the efforts are clearly out there for everybody to see. Right now, we are not seeing any effort, that the military are really putting in place to make sure that all this ends. The sooner the better.
Now, on one end, we're seeing what's happening in Katsina, and on another end, we're seeing what is happening in Borno. Boko Haram kills army commander as well as 7 soldiers, and this is not the first time we're seeing, members of the armed forces or the military being killed. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Honestly, it's becoming too much. A commander, that means an officer, and see how the amount of money Nigeria spent in his training, and all that, only for some ragtag criminals to go after them and be killing them. And with all the technology we have in place, people are still talking about ambush. Honestly, I don't think we are putting technology to good use in the fight against terrorism. Because if you can use drones, honestly, I don't see how it will be possible for any military officers to run into an ambush. Because you will have seen what is happening on that route even before stepping out. But to say that, you were ambushed and then you had to call for air backup and what have you. Honestly, I think the casualty, the rate is getting high, and I think the better we stop it, the better for all of us.
All right, quickly before we go, let's move back to the FCT. We have a strike going on. Some people might have gone back to work, but others might have not, and patients have been stranded as health facilities shut down. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Sadly, patients are the one bearing the brunt of all this. The government is making its own argument, and then the doctors are also making their own argument. But see, unless we make the patient like the central part of all the argument, honestly, I don't see how we can succeed. Because the minister will say this is what they are not doing, what they are doing wrong, and then the doctors will also on their own make the argument that the government is not playing its role the way it's supposed to, and then we leave the patient. And I know in military, in medical training, they say the patient is very important, because if you don't have the patient to treat, then what's even use? What use will you have for the society? So I think the better they solve this problem, the better for the patients especially, and then the whole of the people in general.
Absolutely. All right, thank you very much, Nasir Lawal, for reviewing the front pages of our National Daily this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And now with that, we've come to the end of Daybreak on Trust TV. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. so don't miss out on engaging and interesting conversations. As always, I am Hambwa Ademikiawa. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day ahead.